What drew me to Avon the most, I think, was the reputation that it had. Asking around to people about Avon Police Department, it was very clear that they had a good reputation. Everybody works really well together. There's no one that I feel like I can't go to with a question that I have from the top level down. Everybody communicates very well, works together very well. From the administrative level, they really allow you to become your own officer. And by that I mean you can kind of go down whichever avenue you want to as far as what specifications you like, what you like doing the most. Public interactions I've had have been very good. People seem to be appreciative of the job we do. Any criticisms I receive are always constructive. They're never designed to tear you down. You know, you do good work and get recognized for it. It goes hand in hand. It's just nice when you can help somebody and they come back and tell you how thankful they are. It really makes you feel like you did a good job.
All right, this is a call to order. We're going to take a roll call first, and we'll go from there.
Paul Guckenberger.
Here.
Ann Inman. Catherine Ransberg.
Here.
Marcy Tashler.
Present.
Marcus Turner.
Okay, so both our chair and vice chair are absent today, so I'm going to ask that you elect a new interim chair to preside over today's meeting, if you wouldn't mind.
I move that Catherine Ransberg preside as interim chair.
And I'll second.
All in
Guess
favor?
I don't get a vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, to you, Catherine.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Welcome to the Town of Avon Board of Zoning Appeals meeting. If you are interested in having a copy of the agenda or the staff reports, they are available on the tables to the right of the audience. This meeting is being recorded for the public record. Because of this, we request that personal conversations are kept to a minimum and all cell phones are set to vibrate with any phone calls taken outside of the chambers. If you are interested in commenting during any public hearing, please sign up on the sheets located on the tables to the right of the audience. When your name is called, please step forward to the podium and state your name and address for the record. Please address your comments to the board and not to staff or to the appellant. Your comments should relate directly to the case at hand. We do understand there may be several people who wish to speak. The chair may therefore impose a time limit for each person. Federal law requires that the town make available to all attendees a Title VI public involvement survey. These surveys are on the table to the right of the audience. Members of the public who wish to complete this survey may do so and place them in the designated area. If, because of a disability, any person in attendance needs assistance or accommodation to fully participate in this meeting, please notify staff. Thank you for your assistance in facilitating a respectful, fair, and timely meeting. Welcome to our meeting. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Do we have a quorum?
Yes, we do.
Thank you very much for that. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the meeting minutes. Has everyone had an opportunity to review the meeting minutes from the March 17th, 2022 meeting? And do we have any suggestions for changes or edits? No? Do we have a motion to accept the meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor of accepting the March 17th, 2022 meeting minutes, say aye.
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 So accepted. Are there any continuances or agenda modifications?
There are not at this time. However, under our rules, an appellant must receive approval from a majority of the entire board, which is 3 people. So for both applications here tonight, they would have to receive approval from all 3 members. In other words, it have to be unanimous for them to be approved. Typically, when we don't have a full board like this and that they require unanimous approval of who's here, we offer the appellants the opportunity to continue the case to the next month when a more full board would be available to hear the case. So at this time, I would just recommend that you offer the appellant the ability to continue their case if it's their wish or if they want to go forward, knowing that they'll need all 3 of your votes to be approved.
Okay, well, since there is no old business and we go directly to new business, the first item on the agenda is VAR 22-02, Bettis 33 parking. And if the appellant would like to come forward,
I'll start and then call them up.
or I'm sorry, this staff report, sorry.
Ask them if- Can you ask them if they would like to continue it before?
Well, yeah,
staff
that was what I
reports?
would, yeah, so
Apologies.
would you like to continue this to when we have a full board, or would you like to go ahead and have it heard now? Okay, if you could come forward and just say that so it's on the record.
We can go forward with it.
What is your name?
My name is Brandon Goldberg, and we're
Okay.
the designers for the new restaurant.
Okay, if you'll go ahead and have a seat and we'll have our staff report and then you can come back shortly. Go ahead.
First up, we have variance 2202. That's Bubba's 33 parking. Here's a request for approval of a variance of development standards to allow for 4 rows of parking in a front yard located within Tier 1 of the US Highway 36 Overlay Zoning District. It's located at 8748 US Highway 36, Avon, Indiana 46123. That's Lot 8 of the Harvest Landing Commercial Subdivision, and it abuts US Highway 36 to the north. Here we have a location map showing you the location of the proposed development. To the north, you'll see the Costco parking lot. To the south, we have the dealerships there. And to the east, we have Lot 7. It's currently under construction. It's a strip mall that's been approved by the Plan Commission. There's extensive land use history associated with the entirety of the Harvest Landing Commercial Subdivision. That includes the rezone, the plat, various special exceptions, variances, and development plan reviews, as I've detailed within the staff report. The petitioner has just recently applied for the development plan review petition for this development. That's DPR 22-10, Bubba's 33, and that's scheduled to be heard by the Plan Commission on May 23rd, 2022. Applicable standard in this case would be of Chapter 23, Section 12.2. And that says that within Tier 1, the maximum amount of parking that shall be allowed in front of a building is 2 rows. But this property is considered a double frontage lot. That's defined as a lot other than a corner lot having a frontage on 2 or more streets, where an alley is not considered a street. So this property has 2 front yards in that it abuts against Dr. Charles Nelson Drive to the north and US Highway 36 to the south. There lies the practical difficulty. Staff finds that the narrow design of the subject lot, coupled with those 2 frontages opposite of each other, creates practical difficulty. We find that the petitioner would be reasonably unable to design a site in which all of the necessary parking could fit just within the side yards. And I'll show you that in our next slide. We do find that the proposal is consistent with and harmonious to the surrounding land uses, and it'll not affect the use and value of properties in the immediate vicinity in a substantially adverse manner. For example, the lot abutting the subject property to the east, that's lot 7, where I said the strip mall is being constructed. They did receive a variance to allow 4 rows of parking in the front yard abutting US 36. And then furthermore, the car dealerships located directly across from 36 from here, they contain several rows of parking to store and display vehicles. As far as I understand, those dealerships were constructed prior to the US 36 overlay district. So these standards didn't apply at that time. So here's the lot. The proposal. I failed to provide this to you in your staff report, so I did leave it on your table today for you to take a look at, and we can look at it now. Oh, I did something, Jared. I pressed the wrong button. There we are. Thank you, Jared. So here's the 4 rows here. That's to the south against US 36. You'll notice lot 7 has the same 4 rows. We find that maintains congruency between the 2 lots here. The side yards where the rest of the parking would be located would be in between the southern facade and the northern facade of this building. So just this area here and this area here, because of the 2 frontages. Staff finds that or believes that the standard in question didn't really take into account 2 frontages. So we strongly feel that there's a practical difficulty there in being able to provide that amount of parking just in these locations. So we do recommend approval of this petition subject to the following condition, that no more than 4 rows of parking shall be permitted. And with that, I am available for questions.
Am I reading this map correctly in that there is access between the 2 lots as far as the parking lots are concerned?
That is correct.
Okay, but there's one entrance on the north side for both lots?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. And I'm noticing that there are 6 handicap spots. Is this just for demonstrative purposes, or is that?
So yeah, this hasn't been approved through a development plan review, so those details will be further ironed out by the Plan Commission in May.
Okay.
So speculative at this point.
Any further questions for staff? Okay, if the petitioner would like to come forward. If you please state your name and address.
Brandon Goldberg, 21 South Evergreen Avenue, Arlington Heights, Illinois.
Welcome to Avon, Indiana.
Thank you. It's very beautiful. My first time.
Good. Go ahead.
Mainly here just to answer any questions, but we are very excited about this project and we look forward to receiving our development plan review comments, hopefully next month.
So can you explain what Bubba's 33 is?
Absolutely. It's a restaurant. It's a franchise of Texas Roadhouse. This is their other baby. They specialize in pizza, beer, and burgers. It's kind of like a sports bar. There will be an outdoor patio, and there will be a few garage doors that will open up with nice weather. So you have that continuous in and out experience.
And does this parking configuration, is this normal for what you normally are looking for?
Oh, yes. Yeah, we will plan to use every stall.
Okay.
What, can you tell us about your activity? What are your hours of operation?
Yep,
That kind of
absolutely.
thing.
So we're open for lunch every day, and we are open till 9 p.m. and then weekends that it's extended to 11.
Is this considered a family-style restaurant?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, actually Monday. Oh, well, hopefully you get to visit it. Hopefully you get to visit it. Oh, then that must have been Friday. Yeah, Monday it's officially open to the public.
Paul? Okay, thank you for presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, discussion?
Public
Discussion?
comment?
Public comment? Thank you. Pro tem here, pro tem. Is there any public comment? Open the floor to public comment at 7:15. Do we have any sign up for public comment?
No one signed up.
Okay, public comment is closed. Discussion.
So in reading the staff's report, I agree with the staff's explanation and on the criterion that they meet all the criterion here. I think it's consistent with that development, with the Harvest Landing, the retail strip center next to it here, just it's continuous. And we get into this issue here with the two frontages all the time. So to not really approve this would provide an inconsistent development look there. I think that what staff's done, I concur with their recommendation here to keep it consistent and grant this variance.
I agree that the consistency makes sense with the two lots. And particularly since the lots are accessible to each other. And again, thank you for an excellent staff report. You have set the bar very high for us, so you can never leave. So- Okay, so do we have a motion?
Want me to read it?
Please.
All righty. I will make a motion that the Avon Board of Zoning Appeals approves a variance of development standards, case number VAR 22-02, Bubba's 33 parking. I move that we approve VAR 22-02, Bubba's 33 parking, a variance of development standards to allow 4 rows of parking in front of a building located within Tier 1 of the U.S. Highway 36 Overlay District, subject to the following conditions. No more than 4 rows of parking shall be permitted. Since it has satisfied all requirements for variances of development standards under state law and subject to the approved findings of fact.
Second.
Let's take a vote.
Paul Guckenberger,
4.
Catherine Ransberg,
4.
Marcy Tashler.
4.
Motion carries.
Motion carries. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, next item on new business is VAR 22-03, Ziggy's Coffee Illuminated Signage.
Yes.
This time again, I would ask that you request, see if the applicant would like to
Thank you.
continue the case,
Thanks,
given the
Mitchell.
short board. Thank you.
So would you be interested in continuing this to next month when we would have a full board, or do you want to go ahead and have this heard now?
We wish to have it heard now, please.
Okay, thank you. Now.
Thank you, Mitchell. This is variance 2203, Ziggy's Coffee Illuminated Signage. This is a request for approval of a variance of development standards to allow for 3 internally illuminated wall signs, 1 internally illuminated ground sign, and 1 internally illuminated menu message board within 600 feet of a residential district. I'll just point out that I hadn't included the internally illuminated menu message board within my staff report, so you may have noticed that. I have included it in this presentation, and it did not affect my recommendation whatsoever. So here is the proposal. We have, I did it again, Jared. I'm sorry. Thank you. So we have 3 wall signs here on each of the facades that face a frontage here. We have a monument, a ground sign to the north boundary of the property line, and a menu board here at the drive-through. This is address as 1027 South Dan Jones Road, Avon, Indiana 46123, and it's located on the southeast corner of Dan Jones and 100 South. Here's a location map. We have 100 South going east and west, and Dan Jones going north and south here. Just some things to note here that we're going to discuss throughout this. We have Pine Tree Estates to the southwest here. We have Hollow Brook to the southeast below. We have some residences abutting directly to the south here. To the north, blocked out by this little blip here, is a vacant lot, but that is a planned Town of Avon park there. In the northwest corner, we have the World War II Memorial, as well as the elementary school here. Here is a zoning map of the subject site. As you can see, it is an island of commercial surrounded on all sides by residential zoning here. There's no significant land use history associated with this parcel. It was actually annexed as part of the original incorporation of the town, and at that time was zoned C2, and since then it's sat vacant. There's currently a development plan review, DPR 2206 Ziggy's Coffee, in process, and that's scheduled to be heard by the Plan Commission on Monday. The applicable standard here is of Chapter 18, Section 6.3.c, and it reads as follows. No sign within 600 feet of a residential district shall be illuminated unless the sign is visibly obstructed from view from the residential district. Staff finds that the intent of this standard is to limit the negative externalities associated with illuminated signage near residential uses. The 2 that come to mind are disruption of sleep cycles and just general annoyance in late evening and early morning hours. Visited the site and found that the signs to the northern property limits, to include the ground sign, 2 wall signs, and menu board sign, don't seem to pose a risk to current or future residences due to the surrounding land uses. Specifically, the surrounding land uses to the north, they include a landscaped roundabout, a war memorial, and a planned Town of Avon park, all of which would not be negatively affected by the light produced from the proposed signage. Some areas of concern that you may be thinking are Pine Tree Estates. That is a subdivision to the southwest of the intersection, and we find that any concerns there are alleviated by the existence of an effective year-round landscape screening of coniferous trees at the perimeter of the subdivision. I went out there. It is a rather thick screening there. And likewise, you may think of Hollow Brook to the southwest. That's a residential subdivision. We find that it's effectively screened by the wooded area at the eastern boundary of the subject parcel. That's a creek there. It's in a flood zone, and that wooded area is not proposed to be altered, and we can take a look at that. So again, here is the site map here. You can see the trees here, the shadow of the trees, and it also lines going north to south here. The roundabout landscape there, I find that it'll effectively block it from this house here, this residence here. This is about 550 feet away from the ground sign here. We do have concerns here, and we'll discuss these houses to the south. This is the wooded area I spoke of that goes through the creek and will effectively screen from this residential subdivision. As I stated, we do have significant concerns with regards to the illuminated wall sign located on the southwest facade of the building. It will point in the general direction of a residence that is rather close, and therefore has the potential to affect that property in a substantially adverse manner. And for that reason, we recommend that the southwest wall sign be excluded from any approval so as to preserve and protect the neighboring residences directly to the south. That house would be 1051 South County Road 800 East. I actually spoke with the owner and they were in agreement. They understood. They said that they're a resident here and they understood that they wouldn't want to shine light. So I appreciated their cooperation and understanding there. If you want to just take a look at it here again, it's this house here that I have significant concerns with. You'll also see in your staff report, I did include the landscape plan. So there are trees throughout the perimeter of the property that will buffer a little bit more than just the areas that I mentioned. We find that with the conditions noted as part of the published staff report, the approval of this variance will not affect the use and value of the area adjacent to the property in a substantially adverse manner. As I mentioned, the residential properties nearby are effectively shielded from view through landscape screening, roundabouts, woods, etc. And therefore, staff finds the intent of the ordinance standard has been met. Furthermore, we feel the location of the subject site constitutes practical difficulty in that it's surrounded on all sides by a residential district, but a majority of the surrounding land uses to the north, which is where the signs are predominantly located, are not residences and therefore will not be negatively affected by the proposed signage. So again, we maintain that with the recommendations that's included as part of the staff report, the intents of that ordinance standard is still met. With that, we recommend approval of this petition subject to the following condition. One, that the southwest facade sign shall not be permitted to be illuminated. And two, that a lighting timer shall shut off all illuminated signage from the hours of 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. And with that, I am available for questions.
So the recommendation is that the southwest wall sign not be illuminated, not eliminated, just not illuminated.
Correct.
Okay.
So
And I see that there's only one monument sign, and that's on 100 North,
That's correct.
but there's not one on Dan Jones.
Nope.
Okay.
So on the point you were making on the landscaping, and especially a landscape that's not on the property,
Mhm.
if that landscaping's not there, then we probably have some issue with the lighting.
I suppose so, yes.
So the assertion that that effectively screens those houses are only good as that landscape is there, and we can't guarantee that since it's not on the property. So if that goes away, I'm trying to think of what condition can we impose to ensure that we don't have excess light being shown into the houses if those trees go away, that they're not required to keep those trees there.
Yeah, I know that
It's the, I'm sorry, what is this subdivision there?
that's Pine Tree
Is that a
Estates.
PUD?
No, it is not. Straight zoned.
You're talking about Pine Tree Estates, right?
Yeah, I'm talking about pine trees. In fact, I'm really, any landscaping that is being identified as blocking the light, I think we need to put a condition that requires that landscaping remain or be replaced, because if that is a reason to allow any lighted signs that will shield the surrounding residences, then there needs to be a condition that there be shielding of the light on those residences, because, you know, this is a variance that stays with this property. So,
But you're talking about landscaping on other plots, correct?
well, and that's where I'm like I don't see how we can say that those pine trees would keep the light from, we don't know if those pine trees will stay there forever. They could die out. The owners could cut them down. There may be some restriction that we're not familiar with if there's an HOA, but you know, there's no control from this property. So to have a lighted sign that shines that way, assuming that that is going to block the light, I think is an incorrect assertion that doesn't survive long-term.
Although well, first of all, I don't think we can address the issue of the landscaping on the west side of Dan Jones as part of this consideration, because this has to do with a different piece of property. But
Definitely
once,
agree. But
right,
if that's part of the staff's assertion that it protects the residences from having light, excess light leave the property, then as part of our discussion is what I feel.
except that once, if this gets approved, once those signs are put in place, then it becomes a pre-existing condition. And then if they choose to take down those trees, then they are taking down those trees knowing that there is an illuminated sign that may, you see what I'm saying?
So when we, in signage is, and I'm assuming the only reason we're hearing this is because there's an exception, because staff usually approves signage. We don't usually get signage requests. So that's why I'm looking at this, that variance is gonna be with that property for this owner and any following owner that then would have that ability to put those wall signs, and that could be something in future. So when it's introduced, I'm going to discuss it as part of the recommendation, because I feel like that along with all the other landscaping, we need to have something that ensures that there's, what's the term? I'd like to use the right term when light goes outside the property.
Like trespassing?
Yeah, light trespassing, thank you. There's no light trespassing off the property. Just like we ask other properties, when they're putting up lights, they have to do certain styles of light to make sure that they don't have any light trespassing.
I'm not sure that that's appropriate. Mitchell, can you help me here? I'm not sure that that is built into what we do here. And I'm concerned that it creates a precedent for trying to anticipate what future homeowners may or may not do relating to decisions we're making today. I can't.
Yeah, it procedurally wouldn't set any precedent, and it is a little troublesome when you depend it on an adjacent property owner. We do this a little bit with sidewalks. So the town has a policy where it wants everyone to connect. So if someone comes in for a sidewalk waiver, sometimes we'll grant that on the condition that if someone extends the adjacent sidewalk to their property, then they have to come fill it in. However, those are more directly impacting the adjacent property, whereas
That's
here we have
hardscape.
a street in between. So I would probably discourage you from thinking about a condition based off the landscaping of an adjacent property. But I think you brought up a good point, Catherine, when you're saying that, well, if that subdivision there of Pine Tree Estates wants to take out their property, that landscaping, I'm sorry, they're going to do it knowing that they do have illuminated signs across the way. And that's, as a legal term, it's almost an idea of coming to the nuisance a little bit, where they're subjecting themselves to the impact. But I do emphasize with your consideration about, if we don't condition it based off landscaping of someone else's property, does that go into your consideration of if you are favorable for this variance or not?
Well, you might enjoy this next one I'm going to bring up then too, because with the signs, so we haven't seen the design of the signs, and we're not here to do looking at development, but when we're talking about signs, we have, I believe, our ordinance reads on the type of signs that the letters versus the background, and I believe the background needs to be darker than the letters to reduce the amount of light being emitted. And so without seeing the design of the signs, which I think is pertinent to this because we're talking about illuminated signs, internally illuminated signs, I'm not ready to approve, nor do I agree totally with the staff's report here. And can't without knowing what type of signs are we looking at, because some signs would be brighter than other signs. If we got a white background, it's going to be very illuminated. If it's got a black background with white letters, then the illumination is reduced. So that's one that, as we hear the case here, I'd be looking for and would like to see the design of the signs before being able to do that. And then lastly, is this the cart before the horse? should we be hearing this before the DPR? Because when I believe the DPR is going to be in front of the Plan Commission on Monday. What if there's any changes coming out of that DPR that may affect the configuration of the lot, and now the menu board is in a different location than where, I don't know where it's at, but I'm going to assume it's on the front side where the cars are going through. So those are my concerns with looking at this right now, and that I'll have to be satisfied to be able to be comfortable approving this.
And just as a reminder, I'm seeing on what's Exhibit C, the sign plan, that there are 4 signs and 3 of them will be illuminated. The monument sign and 2 of the wall signs will be illuminated.
And the menu message board, which
And where's the menu message
I
board?
have it on your staff report, but it is on the drive through there. Can we pull up the presentation? There it is, right there.
So the menu board would be facing northwest?
That's
Or-
correct. Now, there seems to be a decent amount of concern with Pine Tree Estates over here. I will just note, and it is something that I considered, that the signs are predominantly to the north, while this one is facing south or east and west. We have a sign facing more to the north here, and the wall sign facing the northwest is located at least in this concept, at the most northern part of that facade.
So when I read your staff report and I looked at this without knowing the menu board was there, it seems reasonable, a lighted ground sign, lighted monument ground sign on where it's located at on 100 South. And it seems reasonable to have a internally lighted wall sign on the front of the building, which points to the circle. I mean, that seems to be the least invasive of the lights. The signs on either side, I mean, the one potentially on the north, I guess that's the north side, one might be good. And I think, Ian, you're recommending that the one on the southwest not be included.
Yes, that's
not
correct.
grant that variance.
This one here.
So I'll hold any more comments because before we hear the petitioner, I'll hold my comments.
Okay. Any further questions for staff? Okay, the petitioner would like to come forward. Could you please state your name and address for the record?
Yes, Kelly Singleton, 557 Northfield Road, Plainfield, Indiana, 46168.
Go ahead.
Thank you. We appreciate the board hearing our case today and trying to learn a little bit about our business and what we're interested in doing here in Avon. And thank you, Ian, for putting together such a great presentation for our waiver request today. So a few notes. We are happy to comply with the staff recommendation of not illuminating the signage on the south side of the building. It is certainly not our intent to be of a nuisance to any of the residents in the area. We have spoke with our sign contractor, and one of our concerns was that the sign would look burnt out all of the time, which would, maybe kind of not give the best appearance. So we've worked with them to come up with a different type of sign to put on that south side to try to alleviate any of those issues to make a good presentation. One thing that hasn't, I don't believe, been noted this evening is that we are in favor of turning the sign on a timer so that it wouldn't be illuminated at all hours of the evening and through the night. And, those hours when people will be hopefully sleeping and, wanting rest time. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys may have.
Were notices sent about this out to the surrounding property owners?
I'm sorry.
Were notices sent out to the surrounding?
Yes, I believe they were sent out to 30 representatives on all sides of the property. Yes.
Thank you.
Uh-huh, of course.
Did you get any response from any of the neighbors?
We have not received any. I don't believe if the town has or not.
I had one person come in, I think they were more interested in the development plan review. They just kind of wanted to see the plans. While he was there, I asked him about the sign. I said, hey, what is your opinion on this sign? Because this, while I was writing my staff report, I was trying to get opinions from people. And he didn't necessarily live right abutting the development. He said he had no concerns with it. But that is the only person I heard from. To be quite frank, I thought I would hear from more.
So if I'm looking at this, the front where people would walk into your building actually faces the southeast, correct?
So this is actually a coffee kiosk, so there will be no inside seating. So the
Okay.
only people inside the building will be, it will be, excuse me, employees only. So we
that's what the
are.
parking is for?
Correct. So the parking is, we also have a small patio seating area. We'll have a walk-up window as well, which we're hoping will be a nice addition for the park that you guys intend to put across the street.
Can you put that up on the Exhibit C?
Yeah, is that where the circles,
Sign
do those
plan.
denote the, like umbrellas in those trees?
Yes, there'll be picnic tables on the patio seating area.
Oh, I guess Exhibit D is what we're looking for.
I don't believe I have that one in here. Is that the landscape plan there?
Can you show
Correct.
the queuing? Or has the,
So
yeah.
So the little area to the northeast of the building, is that the area where you plan on having a little outdoor patio space?
Yes, yes, that will be the patio seating area. Yes.
Okay.
Can you describe the menu board? And is the menu board that close to the building, or is it out where the 2 lanes of cars are? Or can't figure.
The menu board is about 1 car back from the building.
Okay.
Yes. So it's a very traditional menu board that you see at many fast food restaurants.
So I'm sorry. So I go to Starbucks. So is it this size of what you see at Starbucks?
It's very similar.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't have the exact dimensions.
That's okay.
handy
It
with
gives me
me.
a general idea.
Yes.
And that would be then shining towards the cars. So that's really kind of shining towards the circle. I'm just about ready to ask a plan commission question. I'll stop.
Wait till Monday.
Yeah.
So what are your hours of operation and?
What's been proposed, we haven't finalized all of those details quite yet, but we intend on being open from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m.
So the signs could be turned off at 7 p.m.?
We would love a little more leeway just in case if Ziggy's were to want us to stay open until 8, because we are still trying to work out all of our hours of operation. But yes, we would be happy to turn them off, when we're closing. We would like to have them on while we are open so that it shows that we are open. We feel like,
Sure.
signs off kind of indicate that you're closed, so.
So this is a franchise?
It is a franchise, yes.
And what would be the standard hours of operation for a typical Ziggy's Coffee?
6 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Okay, so we're not talking about after children's bedtime, possibly as late as 8 p.m.
Yes, ma'am.
And then the signs could be turned off.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So the recommendation from staff was to have the timer shut off from hours of 10 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Yes.
Okay, so your hours will go to 10 PM.
No, our hours would not go to 10 PM. The sign would just be illuminated for a little while after
Okay.
our business hours.
Okay.
Yeah,
It-
we did recommend 10 PM. I was to provide them with that leeway, but we aren't necessarily married to that.
Had you considered externally illuminated signs, like on either end of the building, as opposed to internally illuminated signs?
We did talk with the Ziggy's franchise owners about that option. And our first option would be to have the internally illuminated signs. If the board would like us to consider other types of signs, we would be open to that option.
Okay.
I'm trying to visualize the signage in other typical drive-through situations and how much that signage, like if I'm going through the sign and I'm approaching it, but I'm not in front of the sign and it's in the evening or when it's dark, do I actually see the light that much? Is the light, I'm just trying to, of course, it depends. A lot of these signs are mostly white with printing on it. And I believe you pointed out that our signs, we asked to be dark with light.
So that was, can you describe what the signs look like, the colors of what would be internally illuminated?
Yes, they are individual channel lit signs, but they do have white paneling on them to be able to be visible. The architecture of the building is dark. We do have some metal siding as well. So
is the sign, and I was trying to look online at different Ziggy's, is it a brown background with white lighting, or is it a white background with like black lettering for the sign itself?
you guys remember? I believe, and I hate to say this in case I'm wrong, I believe it's a dark background with white lettering.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
You don't have a sample of that for us to see?
I don't. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. That's okay.
Oh, he's finding, here we are. Hey, save the day. He found one. Yes. You can see his screen. I think he's working to put that up there. Here
So
you
is-
are.
Okay. Is that what the sign would look like with a circle and then the letters underneath it?
That's correct. Yes.
All right. Yeah. Well, and I think staff would cover that with you as you get more into signs, because they take care of the signs other than this one exception.
And we're looking at the menu down there in the bottom right-hand corner. Is that the menu sign?
It is, yes. So this particular location, I believe, has a double drive-through. So is that correct? Am I saying that correctly? It's either the menu board for the other drive-through or a menu board for the walk-up window. But we won't have a walk-up window menu sign.
Okay.
You will or
We will not.
No
We will
walk-up?
not. No.
Okay. I thought you said you were because you had picnic tables or tables.
We are doing a walk-up window, but there will not be a menu board out in the front.
Thank you.
So you're flexible on closing the time?
Like setting the timer, and yes, we are.
7, 8 o'clock. So basically you went the extra mile, time-wise was more of a marketing thing, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So the latest that it would possibly be open is 8 o'clock?
Yes,
But right now you're anticipating 7 o'clock?
that's correct.
Okay.
I have no more questions at this time.
Anything else you'd like to add?
I do not. Thank you for considering our request. Yes, that's okay. 6 o'clock in the morning. Oh, our date. I'm sorry. We're hoping in the fall. We don't have a set date yet. So we're, yes, still working towards that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there any public comment? If you'd like to state your name and address, please.
My name is William Golder. I live at 1110 Brookside Court. Our home faces, well, the back of our home will be facing where they plan on building their project. I believe what the gentleman said over here, that we're probably looking at the the cart before the horse. I like to see more on the development. And to be perfectly honest with you, I'm against the whole project. The reason being is I feel that the roundabout was put in for the flow of traffic. With the traffic buses, the warehouse district right down the street, I think will cause a big congestion problem there. And I just want to point to that. This is my home here. Yes, right there. So I'm against it because I think it's, number one, it's going to cause a traffic problem. Especially, like I said, with the warehouse district, I can see all these truck drivers come try and pull the tractor trailer trucks in there, grab a cup of coffee. We got school buses, we got traffic, people going back and forth to work. And I just think that it's a bad location. And I think that that property could be used for something better that the whole community could use. I'd rather see a dog park put in there where people in the community could walk their dogs up there and have something with the other side of the park where people can take their children to play and everything like that. I think with 36 and 40, we got plenty of places to buy coffee. There's a Starbucks, McDonald's, or Burger King. Every gas station along there sells coffee. I just think it's a bad location. It's a residential area. I'm in fear that once you let one business in like that, then here comes another and another. We don't need another 36 or 40. So I just want to state that I'm against the whole project. And you said that you haven't heard from any homeowners. You're hearing from one now.
Okay.
So thank you.
Thank you.
I'd ask you, sir, that Monday night is Plan Commission meeting, that you should come to the Plan Commission meeting night to also talk to.
When is it again, sir?
Is this case being heard on Plan Commission?
Yeah, this case will be heard Monday at 6:30.
Right here?
Correct? Yep.
I'll be here. Thank you.
Thank you. We have another person who'd like to speak. Could you please state your name and address?
Good evening, I'm Diane Golder at 1110 Brookside Court. And of course, I'm his wife. I have nothing against a coffee shop, but putting a coffee shop in the residential area, I'm with him on that. I feel like there's going to be abundance of traffic, dust, dirt, stirring up. I mean, we live right there on the corner. I mean, on the street, by the street. I don't know if that's going to be after the widening of Dan Jones or before the widening of Dan Jones, but I feel like the traffic's going to be closer to our home. We already hear a lot of noise, from the trucks and the cars and the emergency vehicles going up and down the street, which we can't do anything about that because that is their travel. But I'm just concerned about, I leave at 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm just concerned about the traffic. And like I said, I don't have any qualms about a coffee shop, okay? I agree with him. I think it's in the wrong area. I think there should be a bigger space for this coffee shop. And that's all I wanted to express right now. I'll be here Monday.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Do we have any further public comments? Okay, public comments are closed. Discussion.
Kind of go back to Ian, looking for your help on this because we got the variance for DPR and you know, there's going to be a lot of questions in the Plan Commission, some of which were, as Ron Strader talked about that, you know, I think we need to discuss. And I think approving a sign variance, a lighting sign variance might be premature before we determine the DPR.
I don't disagree with that. I think there may be changes that happen at the Planning Commission meeting that will resolve the issues that are being raised now. And so it might be best to table this until next month. Hey, okay.
I don't necessarily disagree with that judgment. And perhaps through that development plan process, the petitioner could provide some sort of compromise to address those issues that you've brought up tonight. It'd also allow you to have the opinions of your two other board members. So I don't necessarily disagree.
Mitchell, yeah, Mitchell looked like he was going to add something.
Yeah.
The only thing I was going to add is if you elect to continue it and let the plan commission review the DPR, you're going to have more specific site plans to look at as part of your package, which might help you see, you know, kind of which way the lights will be shining, and that might help alleviate some of your concerns with the western property.
Yeah.
I believe the petitioner would like to speak again.
We would like to please request to be at the next meeting to be heard again after the Plan Commission, please.
So are you requesting a continuance of this?
Yes, please.
Okay. Is there any objections to a request for continuance?
Are they within their rights to request that one? We don't have to continue it.
You would have to vote on it, but yes, they can request it this time.
Okay. Do we need a motion or just a vote? Okay, I would like to hear a motion, take a motion to request this agenda item to the next Board of Zoning Appeals meeting.
I move that we continue VAR 22-03 Ziggy's Coffee illuminated signage to the May meeting.
Okay. Okay. Do we hear a second? Okay. Take a vote.
Paul Guckenberger,
For
Catherine Ransberg,
4.
Marcy Tashler.
4.
Okay, motion carries, and this agenda item is moved to the regularly scheduled May meeting of the Board of Zoning Appeals.
May 19th.
Okay, thank you very much. Do we have any other business?
None at this time.
And has anybody, do we have any public comment for any agenda items that are not a public hearing or that are not a specific matter within the council's jurisdiction? In that case, I will take a motion for adjournment.
so moved.
We are adjourned.